Hello everybody, welcome back. Oh, what was that? I have no idea. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. So, I finished listening to the audiobook of More Confessions of a 40-something Fuck-Up by Alexandra Potter. That is the front cover. I absolutely love these books. Absolutely love them. The voice of Sally Phillips as Nell, Penelope, is perfect. So yeah, let's just get on with that blurb, shall we? There is no magical land you can finally arrive at where everything is figured out, fixed and sorted. Life, like us, is a sum of moving parts, and if we're lucky, we get to keep fucking up, figuring it out and laughing in the face of it all. Nell's back. Her life still isn't going to plan, and she's still asking the big questions and getting none of the answers. Like, for example, number 1. Why is falling in love so easy, but staying in love so hard? Number 2. What do you do when your friendships are put to the ultimate test? Number 3. Can we ever really live in the moment and leave the past behind? Number 4. When everything goes tits up, do you fall apart or jump on a plane to LA with cricket, an 80-something widow and your BFF? Number 5. And when all else fails, will celebrity-scented candles, smashed avocados and Instagram filters save us? You saw from when I read the first one, well, listened to the audiobook of the first one, that I fell in love with Nell Stevens. So carrying on from that, she is in a relationship with Edward. I'd say the main conflict of this book is part of that relationship and the conversation over whether Nell does actually want to have children, which in the first book she was kind of coming to terms with just being an auntie, which I appreciated as somebody who has never really had that biological clock ticking. Like, it's just never been a thing for me. I love being an auntie. I love being able to give my niece back to her parents. For me, personally, I just cannot see myself as a mother. And that's fine. I really appreciated Nell's point of view in the first book, and it's solidified in this book when she discusses what her options are. Because I said, you know, she's in her 40s, it's that point in life for a woman where you're just like, with that ticking of that clock, you are at that point when it's just like, I am on the older side when it comes to having babies, and if I want to do it, I do need to do it now. And through this you do see Nell's inner workings of trying to figure out like what she does want, and as I said, the conflict in the relationship is whether she wants children, but also because Edward doesn't, because he already has 2 grown-up children. And, you know, it's that question of, like, is being a step-parent going to be enough for Nell if that clock is ticking for her? And, or is it something that she can do by herself if she decides that the conversation with Edward has just drawn a line under everything? I love the way that this book is written, and I really think the fact that she has a podcast, it really lends itself to being an audiobook. There are some books that just, when it becomes an audiobook, it really just elevates it, and I felt that way about None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, because again that had a podcast element to it, so listening to it just made that experience so much fun. And then also Daisy Jones and the Six was a book that really lent itself to the full-on production of the audiobook that it was when it became. So the way that it's written, where it's written as interviews, so hearing the interviews was absolutely perfect. And also the fact that they included music I say in the book, it was at the end of the book, but still it was just something that really elevated it, and it totally works for Confessions, because when I think about this book, I think of it as if Bridget Jones had a podcast instead of a diary. It's a weird one to compare to Bridget Jones, but the fact is, I think it's because it's that idea of a woman, or anybody, just not having it all together and realising that nobody really has it all together. Because, admittedly, I have only, like, minutes before turning this camera on, I finished reading Mad About the Boy, Bridget Jones. So the fact that I have been reading Bridget Jones while I have been listening to Confessions, it kind of put them kind of side by side in my brain. So there has been a comparison a little bit, mainly because of the themes that both books are looking at, or both series are looking at. And admittedly, I kind of did Bridget Jones slightly in the wrong order, because I did not realise that the Bridget Jones's baby book was written after the film came out. It was an original screenplay that Helen Fielding worked on, and then afterwards she adapted it and turned it into a book. Suddenly everything else clicked into place with that. Yeah, with this you're seeing Nell's relationship with Andrew and her relationship with his kids, and seeing like if this is something that is salvageable in this relationship over her still figuring out if she wants kids, and Edward's, did I say Andrew? I keep wanting to call him Andrew. And Edward's steadfastly saying, I have 2 grown-up kids and I don't want to do this again. So yeah, it's that kind of idea of just like, can the almost breakdown of this relationship over this one conversation, like, is it salvageable? And I really liked the way that conversation was had in this book, because I've read a book before where I did not agree with the way that conversation was presented and how it finished. What book was that called? That was a book where it was just like, I enjoyed it. I had a relationship with the characters, but I just didn't like the way that it ended, and I didn't like what it was trying to say. Men I've Loved Before by Adele Parks. That was the book where it had a conversation between a couple of determining whether they wanted children or not. The way the conversation was had was really frustrating, and I did not like where it ended. It was a book where, when you think about what happened to the couple after the last page of the book, you would be convinced that they would have broken up. Like, this was not a relationship that was going to last after the final page, because it turned into quite a toxic relationship, and it seemed like people were being forgiven for very awful things. So yeah, I did not agree with how that ended. But this book, I felt like it handled really well the conversation of somebody who might not want children or might not be able to have children. And I thought that was quite refreshing to have a story that I think more people would identify with now, because not everybody wants to be a parent. And yeah, there's some people out there who think it's selfish to not want children, and I think it's selfish also to want children. So I'm not saying like it's a horrible thing, like sometimes we're allowed to be selfish, but the fact is that, you know, saying that you want to have children and you want to have a baby and you want to bring that child into the world yourself, it is selfish. It's selfish in both the best and the worst ways possible, because, you know, we all know that not everybody should have children. But yeah, I appreciated how it handled that conversation. But yeah, it was just, as I've been reading the Bridget Jones books and had that comparison of Bridget and Nell, it just makes you think about the fact that, like, not everybody is perfect. We all have our problems, our troubles, and, you know, sometimes things go wrong, sometimes things go right, you know, all the messy bits in between, kind of the good things and the bad things. Yeah, I just thought it was wonderful. I just thought it was so good, it's so funny, and yeah, the concept of the audiobook really translates well into an audiobook. Yeah, I loved it. If any of that sounds like something you want to read, I definitely recommend Confessions and More Confessions of a 40-something Fuck-Up by Alexandra Potter. It's just so good. The fact that Sally Phillips reads as Nell is just wonderful, and it gives you that extra connection to Bridget, because obviously Sally Phillips was in the Bridget Jones films. The comparison is just there, but then it also gives me elements of Miranda as well, and Sally Phillips was also in Miranda with Miranda Hart. But yeah, so if you like stuff about women who don't have it all together and are mumbling their way through and figuring stuff out, and the idea that, like, you can look at somebody else and think they're perfect, but then they can also look at you and think that you're perfect, so you're just seeing things from completely different points of view. Yeah, I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if there's going to be another one at some point, but where this ended feels like a nice place to end Nell's story. So yeah, I would not be offended by the idea of another one, but I did feel this had a nice ending for Nell and what she wants out of life. Yeah. So, thank you so much for watching. If you're wondering why I'm wearing like no makeup today, I've literally got on a tinted moisturiser and a bit of mascara, it's because as I'm recording this, we're going through a heat wave. My window is open, but I turned my fan off for you. That is love. I have spent some time in the garden reading the end of Mad About the Boy. I will be filming that at some point, but because we're finally back on Disney Plus, I am finally back with Disney Plus. I want to do a bit of binge watching of Private Practice because I've started season 3. So, yes. Anyway, I'll let you go now. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe. I love you all. Goodbye.